Hey, I'm Andy from VideoGameExperiment.com, and this is part 3 of VGX on the Hunt in Wisconsin. This morning we start in Green Bay, Wisconsin, home of the Cheeseheads. We're going to find some games here today. Just stay with us and see what we find. So for those of you who don't know, I've never been to Wisconsin. The number of bars that they have here is the per capita has to be like one bar for every two people that live in Wisconsin. It is that crazy here. It's pretty much Wisconsin is to United States as Ireland is to Europe. So it very much is a drinky under the table here. I could not keep up with anybody here. It even goes to show last night. I was in Subway in line to get some, sandwich, and a couple of pair of guys come in, and one guy's carrying a case of beer, just strolling right into Subway. And that's not the surprising thing here. The surprising thing is he was holding a Coors Light instead of like a Miller or a Liney's or something like that. But yeah, it really is. You can go down a dirt road here, 20 miles, 10 miles, even that, and you'll see some neon lights in the horizon. Sure enough, it's a bar that looks like a house in the middle of nowhere, nothing around it, no houses, no buildings, nothing else. That's pretty common here. So yeah, they really like to drink here. I like to drink. So it's kind of a lot of fun out here, but there's too many options, that's for sure. Okay, for our first stop, we just got out of a very empty Pawn America here in Green Bay. Did pick up a couple. Paper Mario, GameCube, good price on that. It's hard to keep those in stock. And then secondly, a game I've never heard of, never seen in the wild before. Power Slave for PlayStation 1. To me, just looking at the back, it looks like a Doom clone set in Egypt, or something like that. Indiana Jones style. I'm not quite sure. I'm hoping it has something to do with the Great Iron Maiden album, one of my favorites, but probably not. So that's all we got at that one. Not much to speak of, but we're going to keep trucking today. Okay, we just got out of a used media shop called Pre-Played here in Green Bay. Seemed really, really picked over. Didn't find much in there until, well, I'll get to it. Did find Ninja Gaiden for Game Boy. Really hard to find Game Boy game, because nobody has Game Boy games really anymore, and if they are, they're pretty much junk. So $16 on that is a pretty good price for a Game Boy game. And then I saw this, and I had to rub my eyes because it's still the morning here, and I had to rub my eyes again to make sure the price was right on this thing. Mega Man 5 for $14. $14. See that? That, to me, is just insane. Somebody wasn't doing their job in there. A place like that should be on top of their prices like that. Mega Man 5 has been going for at least $40 for many, many years, until recently. I mean, now it's a $60, $70 game. But yeah, somebody made a mistake, I don't know. Or their computer system shows this price back when it was maybe 1998. Who knows? But another huge, huge deal for our trip here. And this one will be going to one of you guys. I'm sure you'll be picking it up right away. But yeah, good deals today. Hopefully that there's more to come. Okay, if you followed us on part 1 and part 2 of this trip, you'll notice that family video has been a staple. We've been going to pretty much all of them that we can get to. And today will be no different when we picked up Vanquish for the PlayStation 3. Now, Vanquish is a really interesting game. A lot of people say it's underrated. I think it is. It's definitely underrated, but maybe it's not a diamond in the rough. Maybe that's not the term to use. Everybody thinks that it did not sell that well, but I see it everywhere. We always pick it up everywhere that we can, but I think it sold pretty decent for what they were trying to do. Uh, Maybe a lot of gamers still have not played it, which you probably should. It's a If you like Call of Duty single player, it's that with just the most ridiculousness that Platinum Games can give you. Um, Things like smoking in a helmet, in a space helmet, and the way he just glides around on his knees is just the movement in the game is just one above anything in any other game. I have not played Titanfall now. Maybe Titanfall takes that to another level, from what I've heard with the parkour and stuff like that. But this is a fast-paced shooter, and highly recommended. So, yeah, if you get a chance, play through it. It's not that long, 6 hours, I think. But I mean, that's the going rate for single-player shooters nowadays, isn't it? But yeah, probably one of my favorite Platinum games. Maybe if you get the Clover stuff involved there, it's farther down the list. But nonetheless, still a great game. Okay, if you heard of the town Green Bay, I'd be willing to bet it's because of the Green Bay Packers, the football team. But what's crazy about this town is it is actually really small to house a NFL team. They're probably the most passionate fans. Everywhere you go, it's Packer stuff everywhere. But it truly is amazing that they were able to get that big a team in this small of a town. So just to show you a little bit, here is your normal everyday rundown Kmart. And then right across the street, Lambeau Field, home of the Packers. It really is something that you don't see every day, and probably nowhere else in America you're going to have an NFL stadium right across a Kmart. And right behind there, it's just right back there, just houses and houses and houses of stuff, of just people. And it really is kind of cool that all those people can just walk to an NFL stadium, watch Packers play. I believe the Packers are owned by the city, or at least Lambeau Field is. I am not sure how that works. I'll have to read up on that again. But yeah, Lambeau Field, home of the Packers. Okay, we just checked out the other location of GB Games in Green Bay. They picked up some retro games there, like Kirby, Nightmare in Dreamland for Game Boy Advance, and Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Both of these will probably sell immediately. That's why I bought them, because they are hard to keep in stock, that's for sure. And for 360, Lost Odyssey. Now, if you have a 360 and you're looking for traditional Japanese role-playing games, this might be one of your only options. 360 definitely got the short end of the stick on that type of genre, mainly because the Xbox didn't take off very well in Japan. That said, for some reason a lot of the Japanese shoot 'em ups are only found on Xbox 360, and a lot of them didn't come over here either. But anyway, Lost Odyssey has some lineage from Final Fantasy. One of the creators of Final Fantasy, started his own company called Mistwalker, and that's who did this game. So it is one of the few Japanese role-playing games on the 360, and it is also very good. So definitely check it out. If you're into Japanese role-playing games, you probably have other platforms and enough to keep you busy there, but if you're stretching, try this one. And before we leave Green Bay, I do want to talk about a local game shop here called Great Game Trade, I believe. I could have that wrong. Unfortunately, this trip I won't be able to make it there due to time constraints. It's not worth it to us to stop there, because I know what their prices are, and they're basically in line with what all the online prices are. And that's okay. I mean, the selection that they have there it's almost as if you're walking around eBay itself. last time I was there, they had almost everything, just a huge rack of Saturn games, like a CD, uh, Turbo, whole bunch of stuff. Even like a boxed Evo Search for Eden, stuff you'll never see out in the wild, but this store has it, and you have to tip your hat for them keeping it there and not just unloading it all on eBay and getting the money now, like a lot of other places seem to do. And I mean, I can't say anything different on that. I mean, we have to do that too to pay our bills, but um, it is cool to be able to, as a retro gamer and a fan of video games, be able to just kind of walk around like that. It almost has like a museum quality to it. So if you're in the area, definitely stop in there. Uh, the guy, the guy that ran it is very nice. He's really knowledgeable. Obviously, you have to be when you get into those retro games. I think he's had the store for quite a while and has been keeping up with. He probably bought all those games when they came out or got them all on trade-in back then. Um, but yeah, really cool. Check it out. Game Trade, I believe it's called. Could be wrong, but definitely look it up. It's in De Pere, which is just south of Green Bay. Yeah, great store. Okay, we just got out of a family video in Appleton and picked up a few PS3 games. Dark Souls for $10, pretty good deal. If I had the time and patience, I would probably get into those games. The thought of them are really cool, but the practice, in my eyes, is hard to do. Well, that's their whole thing. It's hard. It's hard. People like hard. I don't have time for hard games, even though I think it would be really rewarding. And then second, the reason I bought a PS3 was for this game, Valkyria Chronicles. Probably on par. I don't know if I'd say on par. It'd be a toss-up for me for the best strategy game being Fire Emblem Awakening or this game. I really do not understand why somebody has not ripped off this combat system. Basically, you can move wherever you want, but it's a certain number of steps. So it is like almost like a grid-based, but it's free moving. It's awesome, and it's really pain in the ass that Sega does not bring over the third one. The second one was okay, but this is the one to get. Valkyria Chronicles for PS3. Come on, Sega, give us more. Okay, we are outside of a Shopko and found one game that was regular price, but still, I think it only had 1 or 2 print runs. The first one was more of a special edition, came with a slipcase and a extra book, and that's Witcher 2, Assassin of Kings for Xbox 360. It was only $20. I think that was regular price for them when they came out. Now it's a little bit more. I mean, even a used copy is running about that. Yeah, Witcher 2, I haven't played the Witcher series. I've heard they're very good. Witcher 3 looks, just the graphics alone, which CD Projekt Red are always known for their graphics, but yeah, Witcher 3 just looks amazing on next-gen consoles. But as far as this one goes, if you're going to play Witcher 2, probably stick to the PC, because Xbox, they really had to pare things down to get it to run on there, while Xbox or PC is just full throttle on graphics, like I said, that they're known for. So, yeah, on to the next one. I am sitting outside of Upon America here in Appleton, Wisconsin, and came across a few retro games. First of all, yesterday we talked about, or in part 2, we talked about the Tecmo Deception series, and that I picked up Deception 2 at Upon America. Today we picked up the original, Tecmo's Deception, and we also picked up a complete copy of the second. The interesting thing that I did not know about this is the first one's rated teen, and the second one rated M. Must be some more gruesome deaths in the second one. And the other one I want to highlight here is Dragon Quest VIII. the best Dragon Quest game that I can name. 9's pretty good too, for what it is, but full featured, you got to go with 8. 8 really took the Dragon Ball Z style, which is okay. I don't mind it as much as a lot of other people, but this truly was the best out of the whole series, I think. It even comes complete with the Final Fantasy 12 demo disc, which at the time they had to be like, yes, guys, Final Fantasy 12 is coming, because it was a huge wait for that game, and it ended up coming way, way, way late in the PS2 life cycle. But it did come inside, and who knew that this game would be 100 times better than Final Fantasy 12. Hopefully everybody thinks that. And yeah, that should be it for Pan America here. We'll keep going. Okay, we are outside a used media place called Mega Media Exchange. Picked up a couple games there. Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening DX. This is the color version. Huge upgrade over the first one. The color really adds a lot to that game. Makes it more in the realm of Link to the Past. And then second, Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi 2, which is a Wii fighting game. The thing about Dragon Ball Z on the Wii is they were all published by Atari, and they are no longer around for this. So the chance of any type of reprint is very low, and Dragon Ball Z, for whatever reason, always has demand. All these years later, I'm not sure where it comes from. Where the are kids really into Dragon Ball Z anymore? I mean, how do you get into that anymore? Is it on TV? I'm not sure anymore. But yeah, it seems like these games keep going over the same old story, but they keep buying them. So yeah, if you're out and about, look for Tenkaichi 2 on the Wii, and the third one is very much collectible, even probably 2 or 3 times the price of this one, of the second one. So just keep your eyes open for them. If you follow any other game hunters in the Midwest, chances are you've heard them talk about half-price books. And it's a big bookstore. They do records, music, a lot like that. And then just one little tiny corner of video games. But every time you go into one, it seems like they always have something interesting of retro and something that it's really hard to find. And it's weird that such a small shelf would hold something like that. Last week I went to one and they had some PC Engine games in there. And it's like, where else do you get PC Engine games? I've been hunting for years, and I don't know if I've ever been to a store that really had PC Engine games. Like this one inside here had Obsidian for the PC. Big box and all. It was $100, but they had it. I mean, that's something you could look all over for the rest of your life and never find it. But if you want it, you pay for it and it's yours. But yeah, usually they're on top of their prices because they also sell probably a majority of their stuff, probably video games too, online. But I don't know how this fell through the cracks, but Animal Crossing for Wii for $15, that's a good price on that. So that was our only pickup today there. I just like kind of going in there, just seeing what kind of crazy thing that they have in there today. But yeah, we'll keep on going. And for our last stop in Appleton, Wisconsin today, we stopped at Best Buy, picked up a couple games there. Binary Domain for PS3. This is the same guy that did a lot of the Yakuza series, so shooter by them. It's has that Japanese twist to it. I've not played it. It's heard it's pretty good though. And secondly, Disgaea D2. I really love tactics games, but Disgaea was one I could never get into. If they had a quicker version of it, I might jump back into it, but every Disgaea game that I played, it was a grind fest, and not even like the type where they just stretch out a lot of missions. It's replaying the same situations all the time. So you beat one you'd beat one map, and then you'd have to go right back in and beat another one just to grind up a little bit more to get to the next mission or whatever. And plus, I don't even know what's what in Disgaea World anymore. I know they make a bunch of remakes. I don't even know which one's original and which one's not. I know they're up to number 4, but there's a ton of PSP ones, a couple PS3 ones. Some are remakes, some are not. I just cannot keep up with that stuff. So Nipponichi, get your act together on that stuff. Anyway, that'll be our last stop here. We might hit up some family videos on the way home. Okay, in New London, Wisconsin, stopping at a family video. Got a couple $10 games. Hot Shots Golf for PlayStation 3. I think it was the only one that they made for PlayStation 3. Hot Shots is pretty good if you like. Don't take golf as seriously as like a Tiger Woods game, but yeah, more like the Mario Golf style. And Viva Pinata, Trouble in Paradise for Xbox 360. I believe this is the last. They made 3 Xbox 360 Viva Pinatas. And this was the last one that they made. This one is harder to find than all the other ones because, well, demand for Viva Pinata games maybe just wasn't around anymore. So it didn't sell that well, and that's why it's a little bit more collectible. It's probably also why that they haven't made a Viva Pinata game since. Love to see another one on the Xbox One, but I guess we will see. Okay, it's getting late in the night now, but we are in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, and we stopped at a Gaming Generations. If you watch part 1 and part 2, we stopped at a few of those before. A local independent video game store. Yeah, pretty good. This one didn't have as big a selection. It seemed like a smaller store, but overall pretty good. We found Fire Emblem for Game Boy Advance for $15. That's a good price. Toxic Crusaders for Sega Genesis, which that's a hard to find game because especially if it's on NES, that one's even harder to find. Maybe it's not harder to find, but it's worth more because, you know, Nintendo always gets a little bit more money out of you than the Sega Genesis. But the Toxic Crusaders property was a pretty gory film, and then they turned it into a child's animated series, and then had these 2 games come out with it. I'm not sure how well they sold, but I just don't see them that often. This is an early Sega game too, so collectors are looking for that one. And speaking of collectors for Sega, you might not think it, but NHL 98. It's really hard to find a sports game for the Genesis, and that's what Genesis was known for, was the sports, and specifically NHL games. NHL 94 is one of the all-time greatest. Even like the last NHL game on the modern consoles had a mode that you could go to. You could play the NHL 94 mode in that. The 98 is hard to find because it was pretty much the last year for Genesis. Actually, it was probably a year after it should have even had a game on it. The very last game was Frogger, but this one had to be close to being the last one. I'm not sure where it falls on that chart, but it is definitely a really late release, and obviously everybody by 98 was playing PlayStation with their NHL games. So, that might wrap up today.